Hello, hello, hello. My name is Carlos, and today I want to speak to you about Ethereum and their plans to implement the proof of stake algorithm to replace proof of work. Let's first talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a scalability problem, and it is due to the proof of work consensus algorithm where miners compete to solve the block to earn Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin can only handle 7 transactions per second, so it would appear to me that it is not built to be a worldwide asset class. Ethereum sees the writing on the wall and plans to change over to a proof of stake algorithm which uses significantly less of the world's resources. Let me read to you Ethereum and let me read to you something about Ethereum and proof of stake. In a proof of work ecosystem, blockchain, which is Bitcoin, blockchain miners must utilize a lot of computational energy. Can you imagine that a little while ago, one Bitcoin transaction verification drew close to as much power as almost 2 American households? Power consumption was a big issue and still is actually. Thus, Ethereum wants to utilize proof of stake to consume less power. Now, speaking more on Bitcoin and proof of work, with proof of work, in order to prove that you actually have this computing power, you basically have to turn on these computers and have them solve mathematical puzzles 24/7. And this leads to huge amounts of energy consumption. I think Bitcoin is at the point of exceeding probably the majority of the world's countries' energy. So meaning that Bitcoin consumes more energy than most of the world's countries individually. And Ethereum is not nearly at that point, but it is still much higher than I would like it to be. Let me read on. Talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, wherein there has to be 6 confirmations, which would approximately take an hour for the confirmation of a transaction, adding that proof of stake chains don't work in a similar way. They basically inherit those weaknesses. So with Bitcoin and proof of work, we're talking about an hour to confirm the transaction. Now, Buterin, in talking about the proof of stake algorithm, so in our case, we have a version of this algorithm that takes longer time to come to a final consensus, but not too long. And the benefit that this gives you is that within something like 5 seconds, you get a sort of soft agreements that this block is probably part of history forever. And then in a couple of minutes, that soft agreement operates to a final finale. It's not going back. So basically telling you that the proof of stake algorithm is going to be 2 minutes maximum. Now, Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin took to Twitter, and this response did not give any confidence to the future of Bitcoin when he said, in a sea of coins based on elliptic curve cryptography, how does Bitcoin even plan to stick it out? So basically he's throwing in question the future of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin maximalists will defend Bitcoin, and in this particular Twitter feed, they made comments. Basically summarizing their comments, it was that Bitcoin is an actual decentralized system and benefits from first mover advantage. It is the gold standard, it has credibility and the network advantage. Now, it would appear to me that proof of work is highly inefficient, that consumes much of the world's resources and takes us back to the industrial age. You could also argue that but on the other hand, you could also argue that it is creating jobs in fossil fuel energy and computer chip manufacturing. So I want to wrap this up. I've enjoyed bringing you this video. Remember that this video is for entertainment purposes only and is not meant as financial advice. Please be well, and until next time, I bid you farewell.